Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. Welcome to another day in Positive Head podcast land. All you listeners, Mr. Dalien the Alien, hello, sir. How goes it?
Bonjour, mes amis.
Oh,
Ooh,
that sounded very
fancy.
Very exotic and French or something.
Yeah, well, you know, it's random, very random, like our musical guest that we're going to have later, maybe. Wink preview. Spoiler alert. Yes. It had been a while since I gave you an international salute.
Yeah, well, I was missing them quite terribly, so thank you so much for setting my soul free. You're the best kind of liar, like making other people feel good. Oh man, even at the expense of my integrity.
Yes. Well, that's a little white lie. I think they might actually possibly earn you some good karma.
Oh man.
Oh, don't quote me on that.
We'll have to research this.
Yeah.
Oh, so let's see what's going on today. Dalien the Alien, you got some alien type stories for us?
There you go again with the prescient previews and spoiler alerts. I decided to go back to getting all weird and alien-y on y'all.
Yeah, well, you know, we can't go long without it, so.
Yeah, exactly. No, this is a cool article from EWAO.com, Brenny, on 3 pieces of mind-boggling cave art that may depict ancient alien contact. The ancient alien contact theory is one that aliens, of course, have been with us since pretty much the dawn of human civilization.
Yeah.
And there's a variant of that theory that says that aliens created the human species, right?
Right.
That's perhaps a little more fantastical that I'm, willing to... Well, I suppose that's a possibility. But
that makes as much sense to me as anything, or more sense than almost any other theory when you think about it. I mean, when the universe has been around for billions of years, and we've only been here, such a short period of time, it's like for some other, species to come land here, tweak the DNA of the natives, and all of a sudden, humanity just kind of appeared on the scene. So to me, it's as good a theory as any, but...
Yeah, I don't know personally what to think about that theory, but to me, it's, like you said, it's very plausible. It makes a lot of sense that aliens would have been here all along.
Right.
So, yeah, because supposedly they're observing our race. Well, there's a lot of races out there, supposedly. But it's fascinating, Brandon. These are... as I said, cave paintings, and one of them was estimated to be 10,000 years old in India, but they're saying that it may be actually older than that. It depicts all kinds of things like disc-shaped objects, otherworldly beings, and a lot of these cave paintings seem to feature some kind of, you could call them tropes, and that a lot of the figures appear to be, they're consistent with, other depictions we have of alien beings. A lot of times they'll have larger heads, very slender bodies, right?
Right.
There's a cave painting in Australia.
Oh, yeah, I'm looking at it. That's pretty wild.
The one from Australia is really wild looking. The locals refer to these people as the Wangina. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right, but they are, among other things, depicted as wearing footwear like sandals, and the locals are all barefoot. So
interesting.
Yeah, these they refer to these beings as the ones who brought civilization and prosperity to them. And that's another common theme of ancient.
Do they say anything about them being from the stars or anything like that? Or
yeah, they're referred to as celestial beings.
Wow.
So, yeah.
I mean, the fact that these natives call what I'm looking at here, you guys should look it up. On the new version of the site, we'll actually be have pictures of stuff like this when we review it, but that's forthcoming still. So in the meantime, you can search cave paintings of Wandjina, Australia. It's Wandjina. These guys are very alien looking. So the fact that the natives in Australia would say, oh, yeah, these guys brought us our civilization. They're celestial beings. They're extremely gray-like looking. And how old are these paintings?
Those are the ones that were originally estimated to be, well, now they're saying that they could prove to be over 50,000 years old.
Oh, wow.
So that's incredibly, ancient. And then there's the third one that's featured in this article is one from the Tassili Plateau in southern Algeria. There's humanoid figures in this painting, Brandon, but I don't think you could call them human or animal, really. They're almost like a cross between the two. And
wow.
yeah, they just look super tripped out and strange, so...
Very interesting. Very interesting. Well,
I don't think those guys were depicting animals. These don't look like any animals.
Well, it's crazy when you look back at all the oldest texts and, like the Sumerian text that, Zechariah Sitchin is famous for, and the oldest known, language, and they're talking about these beings that came from elsewhere and established us. That's like the first things recorded. So that's that in itself to me is, I find, very intriguing and interesting. So, well, thank you for sharing, Mr. Dalien, your story of to tickle my alien fancy for this week. That should hold me off for at least another week or two until we'll come up with something else like that. Mm-hmm. So what I'd like to do now is move along to a question that we received. And for those of you who haven't ever written in with a question, what are you waiting for? No, we love to hear feedback from you guys, our listeners, and we really want this show to be as interactive as possible. So we really wish we would receive more questions, hint, hint. So if you've ever had something that you'd love to hear myself or Dalien's perspective on, please drop us a line through the site. You can also record us a voicemail right through the number on the site, on the podcast page. And just, shoot us a question, and we're happy to take a crack at answering it, or if it's something that we need to research, we'll research it. But we absolutely love it when you guys write in. And in this case, one of our listeners, Don Schaefer, wrote in and he said, "Hello, you positive heads. I was curious what your thoughts were on how to reprogram your mind through the subconscious. Example, through meditation or dreaming. Can you just consciously reprogram through awareness? I keep hearing that limited or negative beliefs can hold you back from your highest self or manifestation, and there's conflicted information out there, and I'm trying to discern what works best for me. In other words, I know that our subconscious is more powerful than our conscious because it stores all information like our beliefs going back to our birth. It also is constantly putting out a vibration and will revert to its pre-programming due to the most connected neuro pathway. So if we are sleeping, it is still working, or if we are on autopilot consciously or subconscious, our subconscious will take over. How do we feel confident that we are rewiring or engraving more supportive beliefs in our subconscious? Is this technique as simple as affirmations or meditating, as I suggested above? It's just being aware enough. I would love your feedback on this. Thank you guys for what you're doing. It helps me maintain a positive head on a daily basis. Keep up the great work." Well done. Thank you for writing in. And we're certainly no experts or claim to be experts, but we are very curious souls over here. And we've done some looking into this, of course, and talked about this sort of thing before. And one of the things that, of course, I found is you've got to try and get into a receptive state to, rewire your subconscious. And we all know that as a child, your subconscious is really programmed. And then a lot of times people spend the rest of their life trying to undo some of that programming that's, underneath. If you think of the consciousness being the surface level activity and the subconscious being, the background running the show. Well, how do you get to the underlying core programming that is the subconscious? There's several ways to do that that people have talked about, and that I've experimented with some. And before I talk too much on it, I think what I'll do, one of our forthcoming guests on the Positive Head podcast is Dr. Bruce Lipton, who wrote a book called The Biology of Belief. And Bruce Lipton is a super smart guy. I'm really excited to have him on the show. And this, I thought, would be a great opportunity to give you guys a sample of that forthcoming interview, which will be another few weeks, month or so down the road until that's released. But what we'll do to just take a crack at answering your question, Don, is I'm going to play a snippet here from Bruce Lipton called Rewriting Subconscious Programming Quickly. And I found it on YouTube, Stephanie Hope Dodd's YouTube page. Take a listen.
Bruce, let me ask you then, bringing consciousness into your life, how you're shifting from living in 5% automatic conscious into closer to 100%. Are you a meditator? Is visualization enough to change this consciousness?
Visualization is an approach, but there are many more effective approaches as well. And this is why I listed them in the resources on belief change modification, energy psychology, group, different modalities. The whole idea is this. We have to recognize that the subconscious mind and the conscious mind do not learn in the same way. And this has been the biggest problem in the entire world because people say, I've become so aware of something, but my life is still the same. Oh, I read the self-help book, but my life is still the same. And the whole idea is this. Well, here's the point. The conscious mind is creative mind. The subconscious mind is habitual mind. It has habits in it. Significance is this. When you have habits, you don't want them to change very quickly. A habit is something you learn that you want to, like you learn how to do it. I don't want to have to learn how to do it again. I learned how to walk. I don't want to learn how to walk again. I know how to drive the car. I don't want to have to do that again. Habits are good when they're good habits. But the issue about that is the conscious mind is not a habit mind. It's a creative mind. As a result of being a creative mind, it has this great ability to synthesize and learn very fast. I can read the self-help book. I go, wow, if I give you a test, after you read the book, you say, look, I got 100 on the test. I go, great. Your conscious mind has understood all the data because it read it and it learned it. Now I say, did the subconscious mind learn from that? And the answer is no. For a simple reason, it doesn't learn that way. And therefore, there's a difference. We can educate the conscious mind very quickly and easily through all the efforts of going to programs, reading books, watching videos. You can go, aha, and the conscious mind learns something. Subconscious mind doesn't do it that way. Subconscious mind learns primarily in normal life two ways. Number one, first 7 years, hypnosis. So that was bypassing consciousness and then putting data straight into the subconscious mind. Okay? Then number two was after you're 7, we're not doing hypnosis anymore. Now we're doing habituation, repetition. How did you learn ABCs? Well, you had to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it and repeat it, and then you finally got from A to Z. But once you did it, you didn't have to do it again, okay? So the conscious mind can go, aha, learn something, and it has no impact on the subconscious program. And people think, well, I can talk to myself. And I go, that's another problem. Because you are an entity in the conscious mind. That's where your source, your spiritual connection, conscious mind. But I say, well, who's in the subconscious mind? I go, nobody's in the subconscious mind. It's a machine. It just records. It's like an old-fashioned tape recorder. You have a tape playing, and you say, I don't like the program. So I say, okay, go talk to the tape player. And you go up and you talk to the tape player. You say, stop playing that. Play something different. I don't like this. Play something different. I say, how much talking to the tape player will it take for the tape player to change? And the answer is, it will never change because that's not how it learns. So basically, talking to yourself is frustrating because your conscious mind is the smart, a wise one, because that's the one that learns from everything very quickly just by hearing it. You learned it. The subconscious mind doesn't learn that way. And there's nobody in there. So the frustration comes with the conscious mind saying, okay, subconscious, don't play this behavior anymore. And then the behavior repeats. And then you go, hey, I keep saying don't play this behavior. And it's still playing. And I go, because who are you saying it to? There's nobody there. You want the subconscious to learn, you have to in the way that the subconscious mind uses information. hypnosis, repetition. And now 3 is this new energy psychology belief change modifications, which are like super learning techniques. If you don't use these 3, you will not change the program in the subconscious. And this becomes, the aggravating part of people. Their conscious minds are so smart. They have all the answers. They know exactly what to do, and their life doesn't work that way. And the answer is because you didn't translate from the conscious mind into the subconscious mind just because you put it into the conscious mind. People have to know that. If you want to change the subconscious, the fundamental way, hypnosis, that means you could put earphones on at night, because as you go to bed, as you're coming from consciousness to sleep, you pass through theta. Mm-hmm. And if the earphones are on, theta is a direct download in the subconscious. So you can do, subliminal tapes, really good. If you want to do something else, then repetition, something that you keep repeating and repeating, because that's how you create a new habit. So you have to take where you would normally play an old behavior, you have to consciously play a new behavior and keep repeating that new behavior, and that will do it. And psychology is like pushing the record button. It's like finding how to create a super learning moment, so that in that super learning moment, you can download a belief in 5 minutes. And that is necessary right now for this reason is civilization is pushing itself against the wall here. Mm-hmm. We're creating planetary upheaval, destroying ourselves. We don't have a lot of future time to spend months on reprogramming, which would be like, trying to make new habits and stuff like that. Right. So necessity is the mother of invention. We have a necessity to change fast, and now there's an invention of, energy psychology, belief change modification, that offers this opportunity because we need to get our feet on the ground as soon as fast as we can.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. I have found EFT, emotional freedom technique, the matrix reimprinting techniques to work as well. I'm excited to look more into the Psych-K because you're right. We also have a responsibility as parents.
Oh, absolutely.
It is not just this, I want to feel better about myself. We have a responsibility to do this so that we can be living more consciously and so that we can teach our children that it's also their responsibility, that this is a part of their life, is to learn how to be a conscious human being. So
that's definitely the direction, because we lost it. And it's quite unfortunate because, as I said in the very beginning, we are in the matrix. We have been programmed. And you say, well, how'd that happen? And I go, well, interesting point. And this is, you got to own this fact, is that the Jesuits would boast, God, for 500 years, they would boast, give me a child until it's 7 and I will show you the man. What they were actually saying is, if you give me the first 7 years of programming, I will create the outcome of what will happen. They somehow knew that once the program was in, no matter what the individual wanted, it was the subconscious that was going to run the show anyway. So if I could program your subconscious, I could then control your fate. This has been repeated for 500 years. Something as serious, as important as this, didn't get lost by the leadership of this world. So we have all been programmed, and we're continuously being programmed. And as you mentioned, it's time for us to wake up. We have responsibilities. Once we know this, it's really responsible for us to wake up, clear our own programs, and at the same time, do not perpetuate the programming onto our children, because this is what is being, the lineage is it's a program. People think it's genetics that is the lineage, and it's like, no, the programming is a lineage. And if you change the programming, you change the life instantly at that point. And that's the most important thing that we need to understand as parents, is that everything you say, everything you do for the first 7 years of that child's life is being recorded and becoming their behavior.
Yes. Thank you so much for your time. Dr. Bruce Lipton, you have just shed some light on some new pathways for me to research. I am honored. I am grateful. Thank you so much.
I so appreciate this. Thank you for asking the questions, and I hope the answers were in some way useful, darling.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, Noom. Noom is a unique habit-changing solution that helps users learn to develop a new relationship with food. And it's not a diet. No food is considered good or bad. As we talk about on this show all the time, it's all about proper balance and having good habits. And Noom just teaches you how to look within your own mind and make better decisions for yourself. Sounds familiar, right? It's based in psychology, eating better to feel better. It focuses on the story that we tell around food and how to feel good about our choices. And they make it all super easy to do with a minimal commitment of only 10 minutes a day, which is essential for someone like me with so much on my plate. Pun intended. So if you guys would like to try out the cognitive behavioral approach to losing weight that has led to 80% of Noomers finishing the program and 60% sticking to their goals for at least 1 year, head over to noom.com/positivehead to start your trial today. That's spelled NOOM.com/positivehead. I mean, what do you have to lose except outdated habits, perhaps a few extra pounds by signing up for the trial. Once again, that's NOOM.com/positivehead. Check it out. So yeah, obviously you can see why I would like to have Dr. Lipton on the show. A very smart guy. So many questions I have for him. And of course, he touches on this very topic, of course, explaining how the subconscious and conscious don't work the same way. Your conscious, is your creative. Your subconscious is your habit, your underlying. And of course, we're all so used to learning consciously from books and that sort of thing. Even listening to this podcast, right? You're taking in information consciously. But the subconscious learns differently. And there are primarily two ways that he touches on here. And I think one of the easiest, of course, hypnosis. Well, when you're going into sleep mode, you're going into a theta state. That's when you really can put things into that subconscious. So I think, Don, one of the best, quickest answers that I can give you, simplest answers, is find things that you can listen to. That are meant to help program and reprogram your subconscious while you're drifting off to sleep. I think that is one of the simplest, easiest. I mean, there's so many things out there online, YouTube and so forth that you can find that will help you do this. So I would highly recommend starting with that. And of course, there's other ways as well. He talks about the first 7 years, you're actually being hypnotized as a child. And after 7 years, it becomes habitual repetition. So I think what you touched on is true. It definitely keep putting out a positive vibration, keep thinking and repetitively, generating thoughts that are in line more with what you want. But of course, that's a little bit of a slower process. So accessing through hypnosis, using the sleep state, which is essentially going in a hypnotized trance-like state as a opportunity to do work while you sleep, I think is a great way. And of course, he touches on some other techniques as well. He talks about using energy psychology or belief change modification. It creates a super learning moment. It's kind of like pushing a record button for your subconscious. And how you could download a belief in minutes, and what is energy psychology belief? And one that you guys have probably heard about that they touched on briefly is EFT, or emotional freedom technique. And it's a simple kind of process where you tune into specific issues while stimulating certain meridian points on the body by tapping on them with our fingertips. EFT appears to balance disturbances in the meridian system, and is much better than conventional therapy, according to some people. Once again, I don't claim to be an expert. I have experimented with EFT, and it's something that I've even thought about having a guest who's more of an expert on the show. But I would think experimenting with EFT is something that you can find a lot of simple ways out there to do that, and information. And then, of course, one of the things that Dr. Lipton, I know, has been involved with is Psych K. And that's, as it says on their site, is a unique and direct way to change subconscious beliefs that perpetuate old habits of thinking and behaving that you would like to change. It's a process that helps you communicate with your subconscious mind, so you can, of course, change those beliefs that limit, whatever it is, self-esteem, whether you're having job issues, relationship issues. So that is a little bit more of an intense process. It talks about, if you check out their site, it talks about creating a receptive whole brain state that dramatically reduces resistance to change in the subconscious. It can be the subconscious they talk about, of course, can be accessed in a way similar to a personal computer. And the Psych K works as kind of a mental keyboard, a user-friendly method of communicating with the subconscious mind that is simple, direct, and verifiable. So, that's little tidbits off their site. So these are the things, Don, that I would highly recommend checking out. EFT, of course, doing the going to sleep at night with earphones in, and of course, repetitively. Consciously, and of course, this is a slower route, but you're thinking all day, every day anyway. You're putting off information all day, every day anyway. So you might as well work on it from all angles with consciously adjusting your thoughts and behavior, doing things like the hypnosis, exploring things like EFT, Psych K. There's probably some others out there as well, but hopefully these are a few that give you all an idea of a direction to explore. And I think just setting the intention to explore and do these things instantly opens you up energetically to allowing change in. And I think that's something that we'll talk about a lot with, Dr. Lipton, and of course his book, The Biology of Belief, touches on those sort of concepts a lot.
Mm-hmm. What a great question, Brandon. What a meaty question, giving us opportunity to dive into that. I have been thinking about some similar things recently, in particular about the way that he frames his question. The subconscious mind is more powerful than the conscious mind. And I've been wondering, I know it's very powerful, of course, but the conscious mind is, I think, the full power of the human mind in order to, use our analytical capacities to understand, process information, all of that. You do that with a conscious mind. And so I think that there's something to the idea of believing that the subconscious is perhaps more powerful. It's got its own, way of operating, right?
Right.
But I think that the subconscious is most powerful when it's like anything else in life that can hold power over you. It can hold power over you when you're really unaware of it.
Yeah.
And the subconscious, by its very nature, you're sort of unaware of it on an ongoing basis, right?
Right.
But what I think is fascinating is that life as a human being, you could call it many, many things, of course. But I think one of the things that happens, or that it is a process of the subconscious on a regular, daily, ongoing basis, sort of crashing into the conscious. Both are, there's a lot of bleed through, of course. They're both sending information back and forth to each other. And one of the things that happens is, because of the way he framed this question, I think that you definitely program it during childhood, you program it in your early life, and then you rehash a lot of those patterns. But you are programming it every day, though.
Right.
One of the things that is happening is that, of course, as you know, every night, you get to sort of play out what are relevant scenarios in your life, whatever you're dealing with that's challenging, or you just play with the things that are going on in your life. But if you should become aware of your dreams and what they're showing you, then it can become super useful. So I think that's how the subconscious can actually become a useful tool to you. So I think that this question is definitely along the right lines.
Yeah. And like we said, here's some techniques that are more quicker and direct. And then, of course, repetition is happening regardless. So I found it very useful when I find a negative thought or emotion popping up to observe that negative thought or emotion. And then I've heard it said, and I believe it, that it's very powerful when you catch this happening, not to beat yourself up for it, not to get down on yourself, but rather to send love to yourself and say, hey, I'm no longer going to think that or resonate with that. I send, essentially healing energy to myself, and I'm actually going to reframe and rethink that thought in a way that is much more in line with what I want to do and where I want to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very powerful technique in itself, just to catch yourself and then rethink what it is you're doing. And most importantly, I think this is one that trips people up a lot, is they beat themselves up for being stuck. And it's like, why are you beating yourself up for the process of reprogramming? And of course, you're going to have negative stuff still pop up. That's part of the process. Love the process, embrace the process, and go gentle on yourself. The fact that you're doing this work at all is says volumes about your success, because it is truly success as soon as you choose to even go down this sort of road. So give yourself a break. It's important. It's one of the biggest pitfalls, I think, that people miss, is constantly beating themselves up for not being further along. Why do I keep having these repetitive thoughts? So how come I can't get there faster? And the journey is the goal. And I think that's really important to know. You're never going to get there. Wherever you get, you're going to realize there's so much more to go. We're in eternity. It's like every new vista plateau you reach, a whole new one's going to open up in front of you with infinity to travel. So just stop beating yourself up for where you are or where you're not, and just appreciate yourself for how far you've come and just the fact that you're making the effort.
That's all really well said, Brandy. And the last thing you said is absolutely true, because lest someone think that this is a process that you complete at some point. You say, oh, okay, I'm going to reprogram my subconscious. And then 6 months to a year later, however many years later, you're done. I did it.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen. It's an ongoing process. Yeah.
Yeah, and then there's all kinds of, there's other things out there. I have my good friend Shane. He's been experimenting with doing, some brain balancing, and there's so many interesting things happening out there in the technology world that relate to this stuff. And so this is a topic that we could probably dig more and more into, and I will dig more and more into it. But for now, hopefully this helps the listeners and Don to kind of put them on a little bit of a path to exploring the subconscious and reprogramming themselves. So.
Yeah.
Well, Mr. Dalien, I think that gets down to it for today. I do have some songs that actually a songs that I chose to leave the listeners with today, and just getting back from the magic that was Envision Festival in Costa Rica, and one of the artists that played a sunrise set, who notorious for his sunrise sets actually, is Random Rab, and it's so good, such an amazing sunrise. This particular song is one that I thoroughly enjoyed, so I thought I would leave you guys with a tasting of Random Rab, and the song is Ganymede. Hope you enjoyed as much as I do. Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.